Part 13. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyu Buletin Chigwa. Chapter 121. Soon. Shen Jian came to Su Xiaolan's home. Wang looked at the other party's graceful figure, and Shen Jian's eyes moved slightly. Think about it? He asked, that scumbag, didn't he come back? No. Then what do you want from me? Shen Jian was a little curious. The other party's favorability level was only over 50 points, so it was obviously not his intention to have him come to the house. Su Xiaolan opened her mouth. Was about to say something. Knock knock knock. There was a knock on the door. A drunken voice said angrily, "Honey, I forgot the key, please open the door." The sound was choppy. A hint of excitement flashed across Shen Jian's face. There's no one around right now. It would be perfect to pack the other person up and take them away. Next moment. Bang bang bang. The knocking on the door turned from knocking to banging. "Honey, open the door quickly, I'm back, don't you know how to open the door?" There was a loud knock on the door. More and more urgent. A series of curses followed. If you don't open the door, the surrounding neighbors will probably be awakened. Don't leave, stay and be a witness for me. Su Xiaolan begged. Shen Jian was stunned. Nod slowly. Not long after. The door opened. The domestic violence ghost saw Shen Jian at a glance. His whole face was twisted. Why is he here? Su Xiaolan said coldly, does it have anything to do with you? Domestic violence ghost is furious. Pushed Su Xiaolan away. Just make trouble for Shen Jian. You dare. This time, Su Xiaolan completely exploded. She is also a Xingyi level ghost, no worse than a domestic violence ghost. It was just her long-term concept that prevented her from resisting her husband's domestic violence. This time, she wanted to fight for herself instead of begging for mercy from this miserable man. Haha, Su Xiaolan, you want to fight with me, right? The domestic violence ghost was completely red-eyed. His face was ferocious and twisted. Senluo Ghost Claw grabbed it. He wanted to take out Shen Jian's heart, dismember this disgusting adulterer, and then kill the adulteress. Shen Jian grinned, calm down, otherwise something bad will happen to you. Said. He also took out a morning stick from his body. You wanna die? The domestic violence ghost lost his mind and rushed straight towards Shen Jian. Shen Jian was not ambiguous either. A stick hit him. Suddenly, the domestic abuser's head dented into a large piece. I just feel like my brain is blank. This hit almost knocked out his brain stem. The domestic violence ghost's eyes were red, but his face was filled with fear and he did not dare to attack Shen Jian again. Instead, he pointed the finger at Su Xiaolan. Su Xiaolan, you can do it now. What is your relationship? What do you want to do? The domestic violence ghost roared. As a male ghost, what makes you the most angry? It's being cuckolded. What is more painful than being cuckolded is when the wife chooses to be an adulterer. The ultimate pain was that he still couldn't defeat the adulterer. Su Xiaolan lowered her head, not knowing what to say. Although he and Shen Jian were innocent, if she didn't have a good impression of the man who saved her, she would not invite him to her home. Shen Jian came over. Remember what I said? You are still young and very beautiful. Your life should not be ruined by such a scumbag. You deserve to pursue a better life. Shen Jian's words made Su Xiaolan lower her head. It was as if a psychological battle was going on inside. See it? The domestic violence ghost's eyes widened. Thump. He knelt on his knees and begged for mercy. Lan Lan, I was wrong, I was really wrong. I will never hit you again. Give me a chance. He burst into tears. He has already lost everything. If he loses his wife again, he will really have nothing. Moreover, he was the first to commit domestic violence. If there was a divorce, he would not be able to take anything with him. Then the domestic violence ghost cried harder. He swore, I promise, as long as you forgive me, I can forget the dirty things you did before, including this little security guard. It's a good thing that the domestic violence ghost didn't mention this. When he mentioned it, Su Xiaolan thought of what Shen Jian said before. For things like domestic violence, there are two. Once there is the first time, there will be countless times. Never believe what a domestic abuser says. That's all. Su Xiaolan finally made up her mind. Let's get a divorce. As soon as these words came out, the domestic violence ghost suddenly fell into a state of madness. The eyeballs were all bloodshot and bulging, looking very oozing. Impossible. You want to divorce me and then hang out with that security guard, right? You must give up on this idea. There is no way I will agree to it. The domestic violence ghost gave Shen Jian a hateful look. Then turned and left. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Just want to follow. Although a green-clothed ghost is no longer enough to excite him. But no matter how small the ants are, they are still meat. What's more, whether the Tsingyi class is sent to the 18 hells to be tortured or mined in the black mines, they can make considerable profits. Of course he wouldn't miss it. However, Su Xiaolan stopped him. He raised his head and said, let him leave. This is my last bit of dignity for him. Shen Jian. Okay, it's up to you. Under Shen Jian's feet, the shadow disappeared silently. When Shen Jian looked again. Shocked. Female ghost Su Xiaolan. Current status, confused, relieved, reborn. Favorability, add 20, 80 intimacy. 80 points of favorability, reaching the intimacy level. This is really a great harvest. Cry it out, it will be fine after you finish crying. Shen Jian patted it. The words just fell. Su Xiaolan leaned in Shen Jian's arms and cried. Shen Jian quietly acted as the backdrop. This cry. Just half an hour. Shen Jian couldn't help feeling that the saying that women are made of water was true. The crying gradually subsided. Su Xiaolan raised her head, revealing her eyes that were red from crying. Thank you. If it weren't for you, I don't know when I would be able to make up my mind to get out of this pain. What's the point of being polite between us? Shen Jian said casually. Little did he know that this sentence made Su Xiaolan think wrong. He covered his face and became shy. Outside. The domestic violence ghost squatted in the corner and peered at the door. His expression was distorted with anger. He kept muttering, 5 hours, he has been in there for 5 hours and he hasn't come out yet. Faintly, his head turned green. The road is interesting. He did not expect that this adulterer would be so bold. He's not dead yet. In that case, don't blame me for making you stink. The domestic violence ghost laughed ferociously. Really? Just then, a red light flashed. A faint voice sounded from behind. A hand rested directly on his shoulder. The domestic violence ghost turned around stiffly. It happened to meet Shen Jian's face with bite marks on his neck. Although she wants me to let you go, do you think I will let you go? Say it. Knock the morning stick down hard and stuff it into the soul-binding bag. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 122. Time flies. Shen Jian left Sweet Community. Purpose, Supernatural Amusement Park. He wanted to give his wife a grand surprise for her birthday the day after tomorrow, and he needed a lot of money. This expenditure will naturally be paid by the Supernatural Amusement Park. Spend other people's money, have your own relationships, and do your own things. Beautiful. Got out of the car. Shen Jian soon arrived at this supernatural copy. Looking at the amusement park where there were not many ghosts left, Shen Jian showed a hint of excitement. Previously, due to being suspended, he missed a wave of performance for no reason. Now, he is in the world of horror. He wants to see how the supernatural amusement park expels him. According to memory, Shen Jian quickly arrived at the ticket office. His eyes suddenly froze. Because he saw an acquaintance in the ticket office. It's a girl. The whole person looked a little dull, exuding the aura of keeping strangers away. The ID is Ming Ming and the level is level 22. He is one of the 4 grooms encountered in the dark marriage dungeon. Because of luck, the ghost turned into a tattoo and carved it on her back, thus escaping the fatal supernatural attack. The other party appears here. In other words, she did not open the 2-star upgrade dungeon, but chose to continue accumulating at this level. Shen Jian thought about it. The reason why he was deeply impressed by this female player was naturally because of the weird tattoo carved on her back. In Shen Jian's perception, the tattoo seemed to be in a state of death and could be perfectly controlled by humans. Just need an opportunity. This way of driving is very novel. But obviously, this female player has not found a way yet. Shen Jian looked over. There are 2 players beside the dull girl. I'm debating which tickets to buy. After thinking for a while, he walked over. If you believe me, buy the most difficult haunted house. Shen Jian said. This sudden sound frightened the 2 players nearby. In the horror world, apart from players, there are no humans anywhere. This is clearly a fierce ghost talking. And with sinister intentions. Encourage them to choose the most difficult haunted house level. But if you don't choose, will this evil ghost take action? The expressions of the 2 players changed dramatically. They are not ghost masters. If they really encounter a powerful ghost, they can only rely on their own life-saving props to escape. This kind of supernatural props should be used once or twice, and no one will use it easily. It's you. The dull girl was suddenly startled at this time. There was a noticeable change in mood. Obviously, she also recognized the player who had given her such a shock. She has never forgotten that scene until now. On that day, the ghost bride was born, and the terrifying supernatural power of the red-clad ghost made all the players present look pale, and no one had the idea of confrontation. She also thought she was doomed. Then, a strange red light appeared, and the man appeared with 4 bridesmaids in red. Like the savior coming. The battle lasted less than 5 seconds before it officially ended. The ghost bride was also suppressed. She was lucky to survive. But until the game received a shocking notification that the Yin marriage copy had collapsed and was completely shut down, she never saw Shen Jian again. I never thought that I would meet him today. Are you carrying out a 3-star copy mission? The dull girl spoke. She saw Shen Jian's identity problem at this moment. Not human at all. She heard that the Samsung dungeon would open a new mode called role-playing flow. She guessed that Shen Jian was conducting such a dungeon mission. Shen Jian nodded. You just said you wanted me to buy a haunted house project. The dull girl was confused. Shen Jian said calmly, actually, you can buy anything. If you just buy the haunted house project, your evaluation will be much higher when the settlement is completed. At least it will be an A grade. A level. The other 2 players also heard clearly. This is not a ghost, but a big boss who is making a copy of Samsung. The idea of hugging my thighs arises spontaneously. But the dull girl raised doubts. Completing the haunted house project can indeed improve the score, but no player except Ghost Masters can complete a project of this level. In general, yes. Shen Jian looked towards the ticket office. A strange smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. But now, it's a second-rate situation. Old ghost, come out to meet an old acquaintance. Shen Jian fiercely opened the door to the ticket office. pulled out a fierce ghost hiding inside. It was a faceless ghost with no facial features and a hollow face. It all happened too fast. Just a flash of lightning. It wasn't until he was pulled into the ticket office that the faceless ghost reacted. Then he met Shen Jian's face with a weird smile. Faceless ghost. A dusty memory came to mind. Because he was the first human player to be expelled from the dungeon by a joint boycott, he clearly remembered Shen Jian's appearance. That's what it looks like. Good. This girl is me. The faceless ghost's expression changed. The humans who were expelled from the supernatural amusement park are back. What does he want to do? Subconsciously, the faceless ghost wanted to step back. But when he saw Shen Jian's increasingly dangerous eyes, he sneered, moved out the chair in the ticket hall, dusted it again, and then let Shen Jian sit down. Tell me, which bastard boycotted me in the first place and made me suspended for 3 days? Shen Jian said coldly. The boycott also has to have a source. What he is looking for now is the source ghost. Players. Resist. Being boycotted by the supernatural copy? Still banned? This. Is this really possible? How far must it go to achieve this? Including the dull girl, the three of them were shocked. I couldn't calm down for a long time. The faceless ghost was also sweating profusely. He tried to explain, your original behavior was indeed against the rules. If it were a normal copy, no one would stop you. However, the supernatural amusement park is already on the verge of bankruptcy. If you make trouble again, all the tourists will run away. Shen Jian asked again, who is it? Faceless ghost. Why can't you listen to nonsense? It would be very difficult for me to do this. The faceless ghost was hesitant, and the supernatural amusement park gave him a leisurely job. And promised that he could work until retirement. Of course, the treatment is needless to say. Such a pension job represents the trust of the supernatural amusement park in him. Can he live up to this trust? Of course not. So. The faceless ghost looked very tough. He is the boss here. He is on the top floor of the building next to the Ferris wheel. He should still be there now. It's a gluttonous ghost, and its terror level is at the red level. The faceless ghost spoke out one by one like he was counting treasures. Loyal. Righteous. Benevolence. Present. Kindness. Well, what does this have to do with him being a ghost? The faceless ghost betrays no burden. A dead Taoist friend is not a poor Taoist. In order to clear away suspicion, Faceless Ghost even named the representatives of the boycott one by one. It was the joint initiative of these ghosts that allowed all the supernatural amusement parks to agree and pass unanimously, making it the first time since the horror game Invasion that human players were voted out. This also caused a wave of uproar at the time. Unfortunately, the reputation of the supernatural amusement park is limited, and the news did not cause much trouble. As the Faceless Ghost explained, Shen Jian knows a little more about supernatural amusement parks. Apart from the owner of the supernatural amusement park, the most influential people here are the three red-clad ghosts. Haunted Mansion Boss, Ferris Wheel Boss, and Big Pendulum Boss. Together with the owner of the amusement park, 4 red-clad ghosts form the basis of the supernatural amusement park. Shen Jian became even more excited. 4 red-clad fierce ghosts. Sure enough, it was not in vain. The faceless ghost smiled like a dog and said, I can lead the way. It's so troublesome to lead the way. Shen Jian looked at the amusement park where there were not many ghosts left, just clear the place. The faceless ghost was stunned. He hesitated and said, I'm afraid this won't be easy. Even if the owner of the amusement park comes, he won't be able to clear the place in a while, let alone if I open my mouth. Shen Jian said strangely, why do you think I want to talk? Faceless Ghost? How to clear the place without saying anything? Could it be that by raising one's arms and shouting, one's domineering energy would leak out? Clear the place, of course, to my place. Shen Jian took out a ghost-faced flag full of evil spirits. Tricks, soul-calling flags, exclusive to judges. Introduce : You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigua. Chapter 123. The soul-calling banner is exclusive to the underworld martial judge. It has only one function, to accommodate evil ghosts. It is an upgraded version of the soul-binding bag. The normal upper limit of the soul-binding bag is 50 ghosts. There is no limit to the soul-calling banner. As long as the terror level of the evil ghost does not exceed that of the Ghost King, it can be accommodated. Looking at the lovely achievements of the group of people in the amusement park, Shen Jian became even more excited. Faceless ghost? Is this what clearing out means? I'm young, don't lie to me. Moreover, there are hundreds of fierce ghosts here. Even if you catch them one by one, you won't be able to catch them all. The other side. The three players, including the dull girl, looked at Shen Jian dumbfounded. Clearing out the paranormal amusement park? Is this possible for humans? The dull girl reacted the fastest and immediately bought a ticket to the haunted house. Although 1,000 horror coins are a lot, compared with the A-level evaluation that will be obtained, the value is incomparable. Shen Jian showed the breath of life. It immediately attracted the attention of countless fierce ghosts. There was a hint of greed and cruelty in their eyes. Then, these fierce ghosts saw the last scene of this life. I saw this human holding a strange evil flag taking out a small wind chime. Trickster, soul-calming bell, exclusive for Ghost King. Introduce : As it swayed, the wind chime emitted a pleasant sound. An irresistible supernatural attack. The fierce ghosts who heard the sound of wind chimes stood there with dull expressions, as if they were completely suppressed by some unknown invisible supernatural being. Soul-calming bell has the same effect as soul-calming hammer. Shake the wind chime to emit a ghostly sound. Wherever the ghostly sound sweeps, all ghosts will fall into stasis for 10 seconds. A supernatural attack within the scope of Group AoE. As time goes by, Shen Jian holds the soul-calling flag in his left hand, and hangs the soul-calming bell on his waist. Every time he swings the morning stick, a piece of merit enters the soul-calling flag. Those ghosts that are too terrifying to be defeated and cannot be looked at directly in the eyes of human players are like fish and meat in the vegetable market, letting Shen Jian take it. Wherever it reaches, no evil ghost can last for a round under the dual power of the soul-suppressing bell and the morning stick. This terrifying difference makes all ghosts despair. There was no way I could resist. As soon as the weird strings shook, they seemed to be suppressed by an invisible force. There was also the thick and big white bone stick. When the stick was struck, no matter whether it was a white-clothed or a green-clothed level, they were all suppressed. The stick knocked out the brain stem. This day, the devil, who regarded humans as food, experienced fear for the first time. And as the initiator, as Shen Jian walked in the amusement park, with every step he took, the soul-calming bell on his waist would emit a sweet note, like a war song praising Shen Jian's bravery. 10, 30, 50, 100. Seeing the fierce ghosts being collected into the soul-calling flags one by one, Shen Jian's pupils were shining brightly. His face was almost crooked with a smile. Although most of the terror levels of these evil ghosts are at the white-clothed level, there are so many of them that they can't stand it. The last time I had this kind of experience was in the dark marriage dungeon. But it's nothing compared to this time. What is purchase? This is called restocking. What is a buffet? This is called a buffet. The number of ghosts he had just collected was almost 2/3 of his total mission. Sure enough, being unscrupulous is the right way to open up the horror world. That's all. Shen Jian swept the amusement park inside and out. In the soul-calling flags, there was a faint sound of lamentation from all the ghosts. Sharp and harsh. The three players who followed Shen Qingjin had their views completely shattered at this moment. Even the dull girl with some facial paralysis showed a very vivid expression on her face. The mouth opened wide and the pupils trembled. She knew that Shen Jian controlled two powerful ghosts, and one of them also had a ghost realm, but when did a ghost master have this ability? Not to mention anything else, a normal person would have been killed by the supernatural just by shaking the soul-suppressing bell a few hundred times. Without exception. No one can borrow psychic powers unscathed. Unless that person is a ghost. The dull girl's eyes were horrified. She couldn't tell. She really couldn't tell whether Shen Jian was a human or a ghost. At this time, the scary ghost that belongs to the amusement park appears. Three fierce ghosts appeared in front of Shen Jian. Shen Jian's eyes moved. A fierce ghost in red. Are the three bosses behind the amusement park rides. They are the boss of the haunted house, the boss of the Ferris wheel, and the boss of the big pendulum. This human being is so weird. As soon as I suppress him, you will take action. The owner of the haunted house shouted coldly. Supernatural effect. A strange tattoo appeared on the owner of the haunted house. It was a tattoo of an evil ghost. At some point, the tattoo reached out its hand. It was a black, small, black ghost hand that looked like paint. The ghost hand stretched out and was directly connected to Shen Jian's body. Then pull hard. It's like an invisible chain is dragging the soul, trying to pull it out of the body. Shen Jian was slightly startled. This feeling is a bit familiar. He seems to be like this too. Among the fierce ghosts, are there any supernatural powers similar to soul binding? Could that pull his soul out of his body? While thinking, accompanied by a puff, the black ghost's hand is broken. The owner of the haunted house who originally thought about suppressing Shen Jian and the tattoos on his body fell into a brief silence when he looked at the broken ghost hand. Can this still be moved? The owner of the haunted house was a little confused when he encountered the situation for the first time. Shen Jian also showed a hint of disgust. You're also a red coat level person, can you stop being so fragile? Haunted house owner. Evil ghost tattoo. No. Don't you have any self-awareness? Is this a matter of our vulnerability? Shouldn't it be that a human soul is too weird? Hearing this, the corner of the haunted house owner's mouth kept twitching. This was the first time he had seen a human soul that was so powerful that it could shatter the ghost's hand. This is too perverted. Shen Jian took a deep breath and said with a bad look on his face, don't you still have another hand? I'll give you another chance to try. Haunted house owner. His expression was strange and twisted. To be honest, this was the first time he heard such a request. This is not a kind of contempt for him. The evil ghost tattoo was also angry. This human dared to underestimate him. This time, evil ghost tattoo did not take action immediately, but instead gathered some strength. The black ghost hand on the tattoo becomes darker and darker, stretching like 5 black bony fingers. At last, the remaining ghost hand was also successfully linked to Shen Jian. A sudden tug. As I thought, the ghost hand is broken again. Not even as strong as last time. Shen Jian was even more disappointed. Let alone capturing his soul, he didn't even feel it at all. Is this all you do? Shen Jian had already raised the morning stick. Haunted mansion boss. The evil ghost tattoo is also confusing. Damn it! Are you still human? His whole body was numb. It's not that he didn't work hard enough, He had already tried his best and even his two ghost hands were broken. You can't blame me for not being able to pull it out. Unfortunately. Shen Jian ignored this explanation. He was very disappointed. This is not soul binding, it just has a little supernatural ability to drag the soul. There is no guarantee whether the soul dragged out is complete. It is indeed an unsolvable method when used in a fatal supernatural attack, but when it comes to soul arresting, it is too far off. There is no comparison. That's all. Shen Jian rushed forward. At the same time as the soul-suppressing bell shook, the morning stick fell simultaneously. Even the red-clothed fierce ghost couldn't stop the repeated hammer blows from the morning stick. At last, the ghost rope revived and dropped 3 blood-stained hemp ropes, hanging up the 3 red-clad ghosts. 3 haunted house owners. No. Take us in that evil flag. What's the point of hanging like this? We also want to save face. Ignoring the appeals of the 3 ghosts, Shen Jian made his way to the top floor of the building. Open the door. A fierce ghost wearing ancient armor was ready. He is the final boss and boss of this supernatural amusement park. Shen Jian was slightly surprised. This was the first time he saw a ghost using a ghost weapon. Strangely fresh. The owner of the amusement park showed a fierce look and looked at Shen Jian ferociously. Human, it was you who broke the rules first, so I kicked you out of the amusement park. You are a bit unreasonable. Human, I'm not exaggerating. Fighting is not what I'm good at, but if you really want to take action, you can't win this battle. It's just that doing this will make us both lose. But if you want to be so aggressive, then I have to let you know how scary the ghost is. On the top of the ghost, I am proud of the world. If I am there, there will be heaven. Hear the words. Shen Jian's mouth twitched. Very good. Very arrogant. Wait for the gold coins to explode. Shen Jian raised the morning stick. Under the stick, he didn't hold back at all. It landed firmly on the head of the amusement park owner, his skull was even cracked, and the Tianling cap was blown away. Wait a minute, I think there's a little misunderstanding between us. I can explain it. The amusement park owner covered his head and moaned. Pain. It hurt so much. This really opened my mind. He didn't want to experience this kind of pain a second time. Seeing Shen Jian approaching step by step, the amusement park owner broke into a cold sweat. Little brother, I think some things can be discussed. There is no need to get so angry. Looking at the morning stick that made him feel pain and fear. The amusement park owner swallowed, his expression no longer as arrogant as it was at the beginning. Seeing this attitude of the other party, Shen Jian took a step forward. Little brother, I don't think you understand your position yet. Amusement park owner. His mind began to storm. Then, he fell to his knees and said, Dad. Shen Jian. Ken. Those who know the current affairs are ghost heroes. This ghost is very good at causing trouble. As the saying goes, as long as you dare to recognize your father, your troubles will be reduced by half. Seeing the other party's posture, Shen Jian didn't want to be too embarrassed. He frowned and said, I still like your unruly look just now. Can you recover a little bit? Amusement park owner. 3 red-clothed ghosts hanging in mid-air. Depend on. If I had known this bitch was so shameless, they would have followed suit. But it's not too late. Father. The 3 red-clothed fierce ghosts broke free from the shackles of the ghost rope and knelt down with a plop. Kikina bowed her head. Amusement park owner, where are your faces? Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyu Buletin Chigua. Chapter 124. That's all. Shen Jian's eyes met the 4 kneeling ghost sons. The atmosphere froze for a moment. The eyes of the 3 players standing at the door almost popped out. What did they see? The invincible red-clothed devil who made all the players feel desperate is now all kneeling on the ground, shouting "Dad" without dignity. This is shocking. It's almost like listening to a fairy tale. Among the unexplained supernatural horrors in the world ranked by the Supernatural Forum, the red-clothed ghost was ranked in the top 3. This kind of ghost can perform supernatural attacks anytime and anywhere. Once targeted, not to mention low-star players, even ghost masters are extremely vulnerable. But now, the 3 players couldn't calm down for a long time. He stood there stunned. The other side. Shen Jian squatted down and held out 2 fingers. Now, you have 2 paths to choose from. The amusement park owner immediately asked, which 2 roads? Shen Jian pointed to the morning stick in his hand and said calmly, it will be crushed with a stick and then put into the soul-calling flag. What about the second way? Shen Jian pointed to the soul-calming bell on his waist again, be shaken unconscious by this thing first, and then repeat the above process. 4 red-clothed fierce ghosts? Is there any difference between these 2? Shen Jian said strangely, of course, one was brutally hummed and the other was knocked unconscious and then brutally hummed. How can these be the same? The red-clothed fierce ghost. What you said made us even more panicked. Doesn't it mean that if you kneel down and acknowledge your father, the trouble will be reduced by half? This seems to be quite a bit. Is there a third way? The amusement park owner asked weakly. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Of course, yes, let's hand over the dungeon access to the supernatural amusement park first. Soon, a panel appeared in front of Shen Jian. Supernatural amusement park. Heir, King Yama himself. It is detected that the owner of the copy is a human, and the following permissions will be unlocked. 1. When players stay in the supernatural amusement park, their strength will automatically increase by 1 level. 30% of the horror coins produced can be taken away, and the rest will be used as dungeon funds. 2. The 2-world passage can be opened to send people and ghosts to different worlds, cooling countdown, 30 days. Available dungeons, Amusement Park Carnival, 2-star Rising Dungeon, Supernatural Amusement Park, 2-star. Shen Jian was slightly surprised. In this poor place, you can still open a 2-star upgrade dungeon. But if you think about it carefully, with 4 red-clad ghosts standing guard, the supernatural amusement park does have this background. While thinking, Shen Jian has already read the specific data of the supernatural amusement park. I have a plan in mind. I'm going to give you a big thing now. It's related to the rise and fall of the supernatural amusement park. You have to do your best, and you only have 1 day to prepare. Shen Jian left behind the amusement park owner who looked down on him. The opponent seems to be at the red level, but in fact he has reached the terrifying level with the support of the copy. It doesn't hurt to catch 1 less 1. The amusement park owner nodded seriously. It was related to the rise and fall of the amusement park, which he must pay attention to. We must exert 120,000 points of energy. Here is a list. Buy all the gifts on the list for me. Also, the supernatural amusement park will be cleared for me in 2 days. I don't want to see anyone there then. The amusement park owner listened carefully. Listen. He looked at the list in his hand blankly. These things seem to be small items that women like. What does they have to do with the rise and fall of amusement parks? Shen Jian said seriously, if I don't succeed the day after tomorrow, then I will be very unhappy. If I am unhappy, the amusement park will suffer. Do you think this is a major matter related to the rise and fall of the amusement park? Amusement park owner. He couldn't argue. With such a dungeon master on the table, this dungeon is useless. The thriller coins that we have available for personal disposal may not be able to meet demand. The amusement park owner said weakly. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. I said, this is a major issue for the entire amusement park. Of course, the account of the dungeon funds will be used. If anyone has any objections, let them come to me. The amusement park owner was completely dumbfounded. I'm sorry, this is not a copy of your business. You don't feel bad about spending money, right? Awesome. He finally understood why Shen Jian didn't come earlier or late, but he came at this time. It turns out I'm short of money, so I came here to get it, right? Listening to Shen Jian's appeal, the amusement park owner almost vomited blood. But we can only do as we are told. He didn't want to see the industry he had worked hard for disappear like this. Wait for Shen Jian to return to Sweet Community. It's already my birthday. Open the door to your home. My wife wore new clothes today, and her hair was specially styled. Her long, straight black hair hung down to her waist, and she looked pure and cold. Coupled with the plump and graceful figure and the delicate fragrance on her body, Shen Jian's eyes moved. Ghost wife Suwan. Current status, happy, gratified, happy. Favorability, 33, friendly. Today is your birthday, and I booked a private room at the Villa of the Past. Look at your wife's favorability. Shen Jian smiled. His main mission is to repair family relationships. According to what the player Uncle Chen said, 50 points of favor can meet the clearance requirements. And now, he's still a little short of that. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 125. This meal was perfect. The effect of his clearing out the supernatural amusement park has been highlighted. On my birthday, Shen Jian took his wife to the Villa of the Past and enjoyed the world of the couple. The supernatural amusement park was also closed all day because of his reservation. They were specially received. Watch it all. The boss of the supernatural amusement park, no, the former boss, arranged everything with a look of tears. Damn it! Dare you come to us to settle things just because you want to pick up girls? Grass. Why bother? If you had told me earlier, I wouldn't have said that I would be closed for a day, but I would have been closed for a month and I could spend the money on it for you guys. He's so inhuman. To this, Shen Jian didn't care. All he knew was that his wife was just around the corner. The next day, Shen Jian went out. When I came to the security booth, I saw two players. At this time, a message seeking advice came into view. Uncle Chen at King Yama, save me, I can pay you the thriller coins. King Yama himself? Uncle Chen, my mission is a trap with a time limit. Once my wife does not change her mind within the specified time, she will join forces with the adulterer to murder me. Obviously, I failed. I was imprisoned by the other party and had no countermeasures. Uncle Chen, I have accumulated a lot of horror coins, and I can give them to you. I only ask you to take action once. King Yama, even if the mission fails? Uncle Chen, I have failed, but even if I accept the punishment for failing the mission, it is still better than dying here. Look at the message above. Shen Jian's eyes moved. There are two consequences for replica task failure. 1. Died in the copy on the spot. 2nd, if you are lucky enough to survive, after 7 days, you will be automatically transported to the so-called ghost town. Shen Jian heard this news from Qian Quan. Ghost town. According to Qian Quan's words, the ghost town is a supernatural place with no rules. It adheres to the principle of respecting the strong and can do anything anytime and anywhere without any punishment. To be able to survive in the ghost town, the lowest level of terror for a ghost must be half step in red. Shen Jian was thoughtful. King Yama himself, wait. Soon. When Shen Jian arrived at the residential building where Uncle Chen was located, he heard a fierce quarrel coming from the next room. Shen Jian stopped. His brows furrowed slightly. King Yama at Uncle Chen, didn't you say they were adulterers and adulterers? I thought I heard them arguing. Uncle Chen, It's me. I spread the story about that woman. To put it bluntly, my wife is a flirtatious slut who can flirt with anyone, so the two of them started to quarrel because of this. I am alive now. King Yama, my condolences. Uncle Chen. Uncle Chen, that is just the identity given to me by the game copy, she is not my wife. King Yama, my condolences. Shen Jian looked away. When it comes. He also learned the actual situation. The main mission of the player Uncle Chen is to win back his changed wife. But this recovery is time limited. Once the wife is moved by the adulterer's words, she will plan to let her husband, Uncle Chen, die. Now is the time. That's why Uncle Chen said he was too late. His wife had completely changed her mind and joined forces with Mr. Wang next door to kill him. Shen Jian was thoughtful. The dungeon in the role-playing flow mode does not seem to allow players to take a long-term view to catch big fish. Every other period, various dilemmas will appear for players to make choices. If the player cannot survive it, the same situation as Uncle Chen will occur. The double monthly pass is almost over. Book friends who have tickets in hand, please smash me to death. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 126. Knock knock knock. Shen Jian strode forward and knocked on the door. The door opened. A couple came out. What? The man wore glasses and looked polite, but his face was a bit ugly and he was angry. The woman also tilted her head, looking annoyed. Shen Jian glanced over. She looked to be in her 30s, with lipstick on and high breasts. Although she was far behind the standard beauty of Su Xiaolan, she was relatively pretty at her age. No wonder it can seduce people. The woman saw Shen Jian. There was also a glimmer of light in his eyes. He deliberately puffed up his chest and licked his red lips lightly. His eyes were like electricity. Shen Jian smiled. This made the woman even more excited. The man looked at Shen Jian suspiciously. Are you the security guard here? Just in time, you come to judge and see who of us is right and who is wrong. No problem, Shen Jian agreed. I have successfully mediated several major conflicts. The parties involved were all at risk of life and death, especially a mother who wanted to find a child, who caused the most fierce troubles, but guess what? After my mediation, they never had any conflicts again. You guys met me today. You found the right person. Finished. Shen Jian entered the room very naturally. Seducer. Glasses ghost. It always sounds like something is wrong. The two ghosts were a little shocked. When did the security guards here become so familiar? He can't be a fool, right? Seeing that the two of them were still not seated, Shen Jian greeted them. Stop standing, come and sit. You humming don't know what politeness means. Those who didn't know, thought this was your home. We are the outsiders. Speechless. The two decided to listen to Shen Jian's method of mediating conflicts. The glasses guy sat opposite. When the seductive female ghost was about to sit next to her, Shen Jian patted the place next to him and said, Sister-in-law, here, here. Glasses ghost? Do you want to listen to what you are saying? The glasses ghost immediately glared at Shen Jian. What do you mean? Shen Jian said sternly, Brother, you have misunderstood. I am a very professional mediator. I have also taught myself female psychological counseling and am better at mediating conflicts involving women. I asked my sister-in-law to sit next to me just so that I can observe the details of her micro-expressions at all times. Only in this way can I give the most accurate plan. From a psychological point of view, the distance between bodies can bring the relationship closer. This is purely from a doctor's point of view. If you don't want to, brother, then you can let your sister-in-law sit back. However, in this case, some details of the profile may be missed. Shen Jian said seriously. Glasses ghost. Listening to Shen Jian's long explanation, he was a little confused. Obviously he knew every word of these words, but when combined together they became a piece of very profound knowledge. Since the other party is so professional, he shouldn't lie to me. Thinking about it this way, the glasses guy no longer has to worry about it. The seductive female ghost also sat next to Shen Jian smoothly. The distance between the two was less than a fist, and they looked like a very close couple. The bespectacled man chooses to be out of sight. Lower your head slightly. Then he began to talk about the source of their quarrel. Shen Jian listened and nodded from time to time. Seems very professional. Soon, the glasses ghost also finished explaining the source of the quarrel. To put it simply, he couldn't stand the charm that the seductress exuded all day long, and wanted to lock her in his home and never go out again. Well, you can understand me, right? I hope you can help me persuade her to accept this condition. The glasses ghost longed to hear a consistent answer. However, Shen Jian said regretfully, I'm sorry, I can't mediate this conflict. You should separate. Glasses ghost? Are you not a mediator? There is no one who advises people to separate. You are afraid that the world will not be in chaos, right? The bespectacled ghost glared. Are you kidding me? You are looking for death. The glasses ghost was furious. If you rush forward, you will have an imperial city PK with Shen Jian. What greeted them was a blow to the head. Shen Jian sighed. Stuffed the two ghosts into the sack. Pushed open the bedroom door. I saw Uncle Chen who was fixed on the bed. I just heard your conversation faintly, have you solved it? Uncle Chen's eyes were horrified. Although the ghost security guards knew that Shen Jian had the ability to suppress Xingyi level ghosts, but to kill two Xingyi level ghosts so quietly, this strength was too unfathomable. Totally inhuman. Or they don't look like Samsung players at all. Well, it's solved. Shen Jian said casually. Then he added, completely draining their use value. Uncle Chen. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Bulletin Chi Gua. Chapter 127. Thank you very much. Uncle Chen was grateful after being rescued. Although his mission has failed, it is not without hope. The ghost town is extremely dangerous. But there have been players who have survived. He must take advantage of the time he entered the ghost town to increase his supernatural power. He wants to control the second ghost. With only one supernatural puzzle piece, he is too weak. It's totally impossible to get a foothold in a ghost town. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. After thinking for a while, he took out the body of the haunted house owner from the summoning flag. Control this one. With it, you can protect yourself even if it's a red-clothed ghost. Shen Jian opened the clothes of the owner of the haunted house. Under the clothes, a ghost tattoo was tattooed on his chest. The ferocious face looked at Shen Jian sinisterly. Until Shen Jian took out the morning stick. Evil ghost tattoo. His grimace froze. No need, really. Shen Jian said with an unkind look, I'll give you 3 seconds to crawl out. The words fell. As if the evil ghost tattoo was alive, it gradually faded from the haunted house owner's chest and appeared on the wall. Uncle Chen is horrified. He subconsciously took a few steps back. Xingyi, no, this is a red-clothed level ghost. Shen Jian actually suppressed a red-clothed level ghost. He gasped. It's so terrifying. I thought I had overestimated Shen Jian's strength as much as possible. Unexpectedly, he still sat in the well and looked at the sky. Shen Jian's strength has reached a level that is beyond his reach, a level that he dare not even think about. Control this ghost, it will definitely be useful, but you have to think clearly. If you control this ghost, you will do something for me in the future. Shen Jian said calmly. Uncle Chen swallowed and nodded slowly. Controlling the second ghost is a narrow escape for him, but with Shen Jian's help, he can definitely succeed. Become a ghost master who controls two powerful ghosts. In the real world, this is already considered the strongest echelon under city leaders. That's all. Under Shen Jian's fierce gaze, the evil ghost tattoo was successfully controlled by Uncle Chen. A vicious tattoo also appeared on his chest. Shen Jian nodded with satisfaction. Stated his request. The supernatural power of this evil ghost is to pull the soul. It is an almost unexplainable supernatural power. Humans will die if they touch it. However, the situation in the ghost town is special. Whether you can survive or not depends on you. After you enter, you need to pass the supernatural attempt of this evil ghost. You don't need to do anything to connect to my soul, just keep it there and I will find it according to the location. Shen Jian smiled. It was a ghost town. If we could catch them all in one fell swoop, all 18 levels of hell would probably be opened. His mouth watered. Unfortunately, the place where the ghost town is located is an unknown supernatural place, and he can't find the correct coordinates at all. If Uncle Chen could provide him with the coordinates, then everything he did would be valuable. If it fails, Shen Jian is not a pity either. Anyway, it's just an attempt. Are you going to a ghost town? After hearing Shen Jian's plan, Uncle Chen's pupils shrank. Someone actually wanted to go into a dangerous place that ordinary people avoided. If Shen Jian hadn't shown unimaginable supernatural power in front of him, he would have just thought that Shen Jian was sick. Shen Jian nodded. I understand, I will definitely do it. Uncle Chen nodded solemnly. I have made this matter a top priority in my heart. Whether he can survive in the ghost town depends on whether he can get Shen Jian to support him. During the conversation between the two, there were bursts of resentful crying from the room next door. Shen Jian was startled. The righteous light of helping others showed on his face again. What's going on next door? There was some fear on Uncle Chen's face. It was a dangerous place with a family of 3 living in it. The woman who made the noise was the mistress of the house, an echo ghost. This ghost can make all kinds of sounds to lure humans, to prompt others to open the door. This is one of the most dangerous places for players, because the echo ghost's supernatural powers only target humans. Once they are attracted, the human's identity will be exposed. I have observed in the past few days that this ghost's supernatural radiation range it's not big. As long as you don't step within 3 meters of his door, you won't be affected by the sound. Shen Jian nodded. What about the other 2 ghosts? Uncle Chen explained, through my observation, the male owner of this family goes out regularly every day and does not come back until late at night. However, we must pay special attention to children. Children will wander around and play. Once they are entangled, they will fall into a trap in the supernatural game. Only by defeating him can we get rid of the entanglement. Now is the time when this family is most active. Come with me and I will take you to avoid the supernatural beings here. Uncle Chen said. Avoid. Shen Jian said strangely, don't you think the voice of the hostess here is filled with resentment? Uncle Chen? I heard it. So what? So, as the security guards here, it is also our responsibility to relieve the owner's loneliness and teach them. Shen Jian pointed to his uniform. Uncle Chen. Brother, you are too deep into the drama. This security guard's job is not even a mission, it is just a symbol to maintain the player's status as a fierce ghost. If it weren't for the fear of being discovered as a human being, he wouldn't even want to leave the house. The more places you stay, the easier it is to expose your weaknesses. Of course, this is just his idea. Obviously. Shen Jian's thinking was different from his. The other party seems to be more willing to deal with these evil owners. I don't know what the picture is. Uncle Chen walked back. Continue to become familiar with the supernatural nature of evil ghost tattoos. At the same time, Shen Jian has arrived next door. The voice of resentment became more and more terrifying. Low and eerie. There seems to be a figure that has been guiding the way ahead. Guide the seduced person to open the door. Uncle, do you want to play games with me? At this time, a little boy suddenly appeared at the corner of the garden. His face was pale, his eyes were empty, and he was staring at Shen Jian, and he was holding a football in his arms. Uncle, are you human? Mom likes humans best. The little boy walked forward step by step, showing an extremely serious expression. Uncle, come and play games with me. Come and play games with me. Let's play football. Whoever can kick his head farther will win. The little boy said. He reached out and took off his own head. Uncle, my football is here, where is your football? This weird scene is enough to scare many people into heart attacks. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. He stood there thinking for a few seconds. A flash of inspiration. He snatched the head from the little boy's hand and ran towards the garden. Little boy. Why are you trying to steal my head? The little boy was stunned. I had a bad feeling in my heart. His headless body staggered towards Shen Jian. But without his head, it becomes difficult to walk. But Shen Jian had already run to the empty garden, threw his head high, poured all his strength into his right foot, and kicked it out. Kicked out the style of the national football team. The head was like a football, drawing an arc and disappearing. Little boy. I knock. You are too much of a dog. The little boy was so angry that he went crazy. He didn't expect that when he took off his head, he not only failed to frighten the human being, but actually caused the other party to play his head like a football. When did humans become so brave? Can't afford to think too much. The little boy's headless body chased away, staggering, chasing in the direction of the head like a headless fly. Shen Jian looked at it. Decided to make it more difficult for the opponent. Then he stumbled. Boom. The headless corpse, which was already staggering, suddenly fell to the ground and fell to pieces. The little boy looked up at Shen Jian. But I saw that Shen Jian had already retracted his foot, looking like it was none of my business. Little boy. I just lost my head. Doesn't mean I've lost my mind. He just wanted to stand up. Shen Jian tripped again. Boom. One set of operations runs smoothly. The little boy fell flat on his face. You are so humming unworthy of a human being. This was repeated several times. The little boy fell to the ground. Completely ruined. I don't want this head anymore. Let me see what you can do to me. Shen Jian glanced over. He grabbed a headless body that was shaking with limbs. Back to the next room again. The ghostly echo of the ghost is still ringing. Shen Jian knocked on the door. Who? The voice of the hostess came from inside. Shen Jian thought for a while. He pressed the little boy's headless body against the door. Speak. Shen Jian said fiercely. Little boy. I don't even have my head left, and you want me to scream. This is not to make things difficult for me. But he looked at the bloody chainsaw that Shen Jian took out. The little boy wisely did not retort, but said angrily, Mom, it's me. Crunch. The door opened. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 128. Crunch. The door opened. A woman in a white dress with disheveled hair walked out of the house. Ah! Echo Ghost screamed. She saw her son's head missing, leaving only a headless body struggling. Where is the head? Where is her son's head? Without giving the other party time to react, Shen Jian kicked him in and thoughtfully locked the door. Call and tell me that your son is going to be sent to the funeral home for reanimation, said. Shen Jian grabbed the headless body of the staggering little boy again. Echo Ghost. She looked at her son's headless body and twitched the corners of her mouth. Not really. Not even sent to a funeral home for cremation. It can still be rescued. Then she dialed her husband's number. Call for help immediately. Half an hour later, with the sound of the key turning, the door was opened. The next second, the male host who rushed back after receiving the news widened his eyes. Steel. In an instant. It was dark for a while. The male master's brain was almost knocked out, and his head was sunk directly. A smile appeared on Shen Jian's face. 3 more Tsingyi level ghosts. Good harvest. The day's work is over. Shen Jian returned home. After meal, his wife Suwan sat on the sofa, frowning. It seemed like there was some trouble. Shen Jian glanced over. Suwan. Current status, sad, anxious. Favorability, 44, friendly. After her birthday, my wife's favorability level is about to reach 50 points. Think about it. Shen Jian came over. What's bothering you? Amelia Su raised her head. The eyes she looked at her husband were no longer as cold as they were at first, but instead showed a gentle smile from time to time. Obviously, she is very satisfied with her current family environment. She is very satisfied with her current life. Is a bit. The words fell. The Shen Ape panel appeared. Trigger side mission. Side mission, Ghost Manor Sale. Introduction. As the store manager of Happiness Agency, Suwan recently acquired a ghost manor, but the sales process failed frequently, and it gradually turned into a mansion that no one cared about. Task requirement, sell the ghost manor. Task reward, store manager Suwan's favor. Looking at the message above, Shen Jian asked aloud, maybe I can help with reference. Suwan explained, I won the right to sell a large estate, but no one has sold it. Because of the price. No, there are always bidders, it has nothing to do with the price. Amelia Su shook her head. I collected information from the previous sellers who were interested in purchasing the manor and contacted them one by one. They told me that the manor was too noisy and there were too many belongings of the previous owners. Those evil ghosts did not welcome anyone at all and would not let anyone go. Others live in it. So I plan to organize a manpower to clean out these evil spirits after a while, and return the manor to its original appearance. But it's still unclear how many hidden ghosts there are in that manor. According to my understanding, that manor was once the private residence of a ghost king. There are probably more than 1 or 2 red-clad ghosts in it. Shen Jian's eyes lit up. A large manor that is being haunted. Or the former residence of the ghost king. Shen Jian smiled. I'm worried about having nothing to do. Let me go. As your husband, I should also contribute. Suwan was stunned. Are you sure? Although I'm not sure yet, there must be red-clothed or above-level ghosts in that manor. Men, you can't say no. Shen Jian smiled. See this. The wife also covered her mouth and smiled. Then leave it to you, husband. Favorability, add 5, 49 friendly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 129. Happiness Agency is an agency dedicated to helping Likoi find a house, and Suwon is the manager of this agency. When Shen Jian came here, the eyes of all the ghosts gathered here. Shen Jianhun didn't care. I just want to try to see if any evil ghost dares to take action against him. Husband, I have assigned you 2 employees who are familiar with the place. You go early and come back early. Don't delay going home for dinner. Suwon adjusted Shen Jian's collar and said softly. Shen Jian's eyes lightened. Perhaps because of their status, his wife, who only has a favorable opinion of 49 points, is already having intimate interactions with him. It's almost time to return to your master bedroom. Soon. With first-hand information about the ghost manor, Shen Jian saw 2 employees waiting outside. Somewhat unexpected. This horror game really has supernatural copies everywhere. You can meet players this way. Yes, these 2 employees of Happiness Agency are exactly 2 human players. The man was in his 20s, slightly immature, like a college student who had just left campus. The girl was about the age of a high school student, with a childlike face and amazing breasts. It completely explains what it means to have a childlike face and big breasts. The moment they saw Shen Jian, both of them swallowed involuntarily. Chat interface. Tong Tong, do we really want to follow? This is obviously because those evil ghosts saw that we were easy to bully, so they pushed the work to us. This ghost manor can't even handle the Happiness Agency. The difficulty is definitely above 2 stars. If we go there, we are looking for death. Said. The little girl with childlike face and big breasts was about to cry. My whole body was shaking. The lips are a little white. Zhang Quan, if you don't go, we will be beaten to death. Have you forgotten that our performance is at the bottom? If we don't place the order, the main mission will fail, and we will die as well. Zhang Quan, I heard that this ghost is the husband of the store manager. Think about it, the store manager is a King II level ghost, so how can her husband be any worse? Maybe we can really get rid of the ghost manor by then. Those of us who participated will have completed a single achievement together, and we can settle the task. The male player was observing Shen Jian while transmitting the news. In addition to being extremely handsome, this fierce ghost attracted attention because of the hemp rope tied around his wrist. Is that a supernatural prop? Zhang Quan pondered. Zhang Quan, don't show this kind of emotion again. If you anger a ghost of this level, the other party will not let you go because you are a human being. On the contrary, the ghost will be more interested in killing people. As soon as these words came out, Tong Tong really restrained himself a lot. Although his face was still pale, there was no sign of fear. Shen Jian looked at it expressionlessly. The psychological quality is good. I just don't know how I would react when I encounter a murderous ghost. Because of the addition of the priesthood of King Chujiang, Shen Jian's emphasis on the evil deeds of living people has increased to a new level, and players are his key targets of inspection. This was the case with Uncle Chen before. If the other party can persist until he reaches the ghost town, he will definitely have a share in the dangerous position of the living person. Let's observe these 2 people first. The entire journey was speechless. That's all. The 3 of them soon arrived at the ghost manor in the suburbs. The manor is surrounded by a red wall. Looking over, a group of villas with elegant architectural style comes into view. Shen Jian's eyes were surprised. What a strong yin energy. There are probably no less than 10 ghosts here. And all of them have King II level strength. According to the information from Xingfu intermediary, these evil ghosts gathered together and were unwilling to leave the place and did not allow anyone else to move in. There are secrets. Shen Jian's lips curled up. Secrets are good. He likes nothing more than to know other people's secrets. You have the leverage, why don't you just let him bully you? Come to your senses. Shen Jian is preparing to leave. But I saw 2 players dancing a strange dance in an open space not far away. Their movements had no sense of beauty, but the more they watched, the more terrifying they became. The stiff body movements were like a puppet being manipulated. It's too quick to get hit. Shen Jian was not surprised. How could two one-star players resist a ghost manor full of Xingyi level ghosts? At this time, the two players had empty expressions, staring straight at the arch bridge in the courtyard. There seemed to be something attracting their attention. Shen Jian glanced over. On the arch bridge, a ghost shadow was dancing. It was an elegant man with blue lips, a stiff face, and hollow and numb eyes. His whole face revealed an indescribable horror. Ghosts dance and people imitate. And the body shape is gradually approaching Li Gui. Dancing Ghost also spotted Shen Jian, looking at him with a pair of dead fish-like white pupils, twitching the corners of his lips and smiling weirdly. A supernatural force struck Shen Jian. Shen Jian immediately imitated it. Zhang Quan and Tong Tong had distorted expressions at this time. A trace of struggle appeared in the numb pupils. Their consciousness is awake, but their bodies are completely out of control. From the moment they push open the door of the manor, the supernatural power takes effect. They imitated stiffly while moving closer to the ghost. It's a dead end now, so I said we shouldn't have come. The 2-star dungeon is too advanced for us. Once there is a supernatural attack, we don't even have any means of countermeasures. Tong Tong's face turned pale. Zhang Quan also pursed his lips at this time, somewhat regretting his recklessness. I thought it would be fine as long as I was careful. But the supernatural activation does not depend on whether he is careful or not. Once triggered, the killing pattern takes effect. Even if he had some trump cards, he couldn't use them at all at this time. He could only watch his body approaching the arch bridge. The only thing he could do now was to pray that Shen Jian would confront this evil ghost. But pray and pray. It's over. As Tong Tong's desperate voice sounded, Zhang Quan suddenly discovered that Shen Jian was also controlled by the supernatural. Dancing more skillfully than humans, with silky smooth dance movements, he slowly surpassed himself. Zhang Quan? Brother, you are wrong. It's also a fierce ghost. Even if your terror level is not as high as that of a dancing ghost, you can't be tricked so easily. After all, he is the store manager husband of Happiness Agency, how could he behave so badly? The other side. The dancing ghost was also stunned. This kind of guy dances really well. Where did you learn it? He also wanted to further his studies. Wrong. This is not my team at all. There was a hint of doubt in the dancing ghost's white pupils, as if he noticed something was wrong. He frowned and thought hard. Finally came to the conclusion. He was dancing too and must have been under my control. Then, the dancing ghost smiled strangely and made a dangerous move. The two hands slowly moved up and pinched his neck together, and the smile on his lips became stronger. The two players' eyes widened. Because they thought of the horrific scene that would happen next. But their hands had imitated the dancing ghost's movements uncontrollably, and they pinched their soft necks with both hands. No, do not want. When the two of them were in despair, Shen Jian made a completely different move. He slowly raised his hands up, and then, touched the dancing ghost's neck. Ah. The two of them spoke at the same time and opened their mouths in disbelief. Don't know what happened. Dancing ghost? The action is wrong. The dancing ghost opened his purple lips, and as his throat rolled, he made a jerky sound. This is not how I learned it. Pinch yourself, do you understand? So, said. Dancing ghost demonstrated it to Shen Jian again. He pinched his own neck and demonstrated repeatedly. Shen Jian's eyes moved. He also strangled the dancing ghost several times. Dancing ghost. You retard. You can't learn this. He was very sad at this time. I met a fool. No solution anymore. Dancing Ghost made up his mind and decided to send Shenjian on his way in person. The pale ghost hand slowly reached towards Shenjian's neck. Hey, I'll pinch you if you pinch me. Isn't this quite normal? Why can't I just play with it? At this moment, Shenjian grabbed Li Gui's wrist. He took out the ghost-killing stick. Dancing Ghost? You old man, you are playing dirty tricks. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigua. Chapter 130. The dancing ghost's eyes widened at this time. You lied to me. No wonder he always feels weird. I bet this guy is just faking it. What did I lie to you? Shenjian raised his eyebrows and pinched the dancing ghost's wrist. The morning stick had already reached his head, and he was just about to hit him on the head. I advise you to think clearly before speaking. Dancing Ghost. Remove your weapon before you speak if you have the ability. I'm sorry, I overestimated my abilities. The dancing ghost lowered his head and chose to follow his heart. If he is not under his supernatural control, Shenjian's level of terror must be above him, and much higher. There is no shame in bowing to a high-level evil spirit. I do not accept. Dancing Ghost? He was suddenly startled, and when he wanted to look up again, Shenjian's morning stick had already been smashed down. One stick is 80. Hoo-hoo. After the dancing ghost died, the two players also collapsed, kneeling on the ground and gasping for air. They felt that their whole bodies were soaked with sweat, and their faces were full of joy at having survived the disaster. And when his eyes came into contact with the back of the man in front of him, the muscles on their faces couldn't help but twitch a few times. This is people. The two immediately reached a consensus. Li Gui always kills people resolutely and will kill if the killing pattern is triggered. He doesn't talk too much at all. However, Shenjian's performance was as if he was playing. This is something only people do. Then, the two asked. Shenjian didn't refute, just nodded. But this was enough to make the two of them overjoyed. A fierce ghost that could take their lives suddenly turned into a human being and was so powerful that it exploded. Is there any bigger surprise than this? What is your mission? While walking, Shenjian asked casually. Brother Legs, this is the second time we have experienced a horror game. The main task is to sell a property within 7 days, but as you can see, our performance is at the bottom because there are no evil ghosts coming to humans to buy cars, and there are also beware of those evil spirits who want to kill someone by buying a car. Zhang Quan smiled bitterly and vomited his bitterness. Being human is a disadvantage in thriller games. As real estate agents, they still need to keep in touch with the ghosts and get closer. Just think about it and you will know how difficult it is. A total of 8 of them originally entered this instance. In just 3 days, 6 died. The mortality rate reached over 90%. Shenjian was thoughtful. A 1-star dungeon with 8 players is already as difficult as hell for a player who is participating in a horror game for the second time. However, Zhang Quan and Tong Tong can survive. At least in terms of psychological quality and caution, the two of them did a good job. After all, those who are not cautious will never come back. Right here. Shenjian suddenly felt his arm being pulled. Turning his head, he saw the girl with childish face and big breasts looking frightened and ashen. Shenjian glanced over. I found a large landscape tree nearby, 2 or 3 meters high, and beautifully cut. But at this time, this forest seemed very abnormal. The afterglow of dusk falls. 5 or 6 corpses were hanging upside down in the trees in weird ways. Some of the corpses were wearing nanny uniforms, some were wearing chef uniforms, and some were wearing housekeeper uniforms, but without exception, they all had protruding eyes, pale faces, sallow faces, and ferocious expressions. What was even more frightening was that as their footsteps moved, The corpses hanging upside down in the trees seemed to be looking at them intentionally or unintentionally. Gilo, these corpses seem to be looking at us. Tong Tong said fearfully. It's too many. This is not a 2-star dungeon. Let's catch up with the 3-star dungeon. Zhang Quan was also sweating profusely. Anyone who is targeted by such a group of evil ghosts will probably not be able to laugh anymore. Brother Leg, we should now, huh? Brother Leg. Zhang Quan had just finished speaking when he realized that Shen Jian beside him had disappeared. He looked around and saw that Shen Jian had arrived in front of the hanging corpse. His brows were furrowed. It's like I've encountered a difficult decision. This made the two players very flustered. If even Shen Jian couldn't deal with these evil ghosts, they would be even more hopeless. Then they heard Shen Jian's cursing voice. Who taught this way of hanging? It's so against the law, it doesn't even feel scary at all. Let me find him, and I have to kill him, said. Shen Jian had already jumped to the treetop, went up and untied the body, then turned it over and hung it on the rope by its neck. This forms a perfect picture of suicide by hanging. Shen Jian was very satisfied. That's right. It looks more pleasing to the eye. It's unlucky to hang yourself by your ankles. Follow the same rules. One by one, Shen Jian changed all these contradictory corpses into hangings. Zhang Quan. Tong Tong. This scene made them both stunned. Damn it! What the hell are you doing? No wonder some people say that players of thriller games are abnormal. They had now seen an abnormal one. And at this time, the hanged corpses all looked dull. You disrespect ghosts too much. It was like a chain reaction. Corpses fell one by one, and all the hanged ghosts revived. All of them opened their eyes and didn't say anything. They were surprisingly angry and started to share the same hatred with the enemy. Both players have lost their souls. 1, 2, 5, 7, or a dozen evil ghosts are resurrecting. This is a perfect dungeon that destroys all machines. Saw this scene. Shen Jian was also stunned for a moment and said casually, "What's wrong? Don't you like this pose? I can also do W, M, N, big and other poses here. Which one do you need? I'll help you. All the fallen corpses? Why the hell do you still want to show off?" He turned a bunch of our dead bodies over and played with them casually. How dare he take credit here? What, I have to thank you for making me feel cool. The nanny ghost stared at Shen Jian with wide eyes. Sudden. A cold wind blew. The body of a hanged ghost swayed and moved towards Shen Jian. What's even scarier is the corners of her mouth curved into a cold arc, half smiling. He he he. A strange laughter like silver bells sounded in the air. Seeing this horrific scene, Zhang Quan and Tong Tong, who were some distance away, felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave, their breathing almost stopped and their faces turned pale. The corpse hanging from the tree suddenly came closer with a smile. This is so scary. The temperature at the scene seemed to have dropped a lot, and the atmosphere gradually became dignified and dull. It's in this depression. Snapped. A loud bang broke the calm. Nanny ghost? You dare to hit me? She was confused. Covering half of his sunken face, he looked at Shen Jian in disbelief. That angry expression was about to eat Shen Jian alive. Snapped. Shen Jian frowned. Another big guy passed by. How about beating you? Can you still bite me? And judging from your appearance, this ghost's sister, you are going to die soon. Shen Jian jumped down from the treetop. The nanny was shocked and suspicious. Is this kind of creature about to have a supernatural attack on me? The ability to be poisonous. What a terrifying horror level. Can you directly make me, a king II level person, freeze? At this thought, the nanny ghost couldn't laugh anymore. The whole body is filled with strong yin qi, which is used to resist supernatural attacks. Next moment, Shen Jian took out the whale stick, injected the yin energy into it, and struck it against the skull. Boom! A feeling of dizziness came over me. The nanny's eyes widened in dismay. I want to roar, but my consciousness is no longer under my control. There was only time to let out a final roar. Gan. Physics crashes. This stick silenced all the zombies in the audience. The corners of Shen Jian's lips curled up. The soul-binding bag had been opened, and the dark hole frightened all the dead ghosts. Not only does it physically freeze, but it can also physically help you sleep. Are you the contemporary master of ghost-guided hypnosis? For a moment, the entire scene was in chaos. The corpses hanging on the tree also rolled down one by one, wishing that their parents would give him 4 legs. Sorry, chef, I have to run first. Haha, no one can be faster than me. Who uses supernatural powers to trip up one of their own, you damn bastard. I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to be caught up. A few sporadic corpses escaped back to the manor castle. Boom. Inside the castle, a certain being seemed to be awakened. The overwhelming yin qi began to spread. Lord Sui, help us, there is a fellow of our kind who is trying to kill us. Looking at this fierce ghost who was wearing bright red clothes and dressed as a butler, the few corpse ghosts who fled into the castle seemed to have grasped the last straw, and they let out sharp and sinister roars for help. Trash, I shouldn't have accepted you in the first place. You can't even defend your last home. Where is the other party, what level is it, what kind of supernatural powers is it? I'll stop you. The red-clothed fierce ghost dressed as a butler had an angry face. Stride forward. Blocking the castle entrance alone. His expression was full of confidence. Until he saw a figure with countless evil ghosts hanging behind him, holding a white stick, a evil flag swaying in the wind, and a fierce and evil figure running towards him with excitement on his face. Often, with a single strike of the white bone stick, a Tsingyi level ghost would fall into a state of panic. Those below the King II level can't even block it. The red-clothed fierce ghost. With a trembling cry, the confident red-clothed ghost turned around without hesitation and fled frantically. It's so scary.